There has to be other ways.
Yeah, for sure.
And that goes into like the blind ignorance of like, again, I keep bringing it up with Blue Lives Matter. Like, no, there has that the response to criticism is not to blindly defend it. It's to listen to that criticism and take that into account and how to move forward and improve.
What's going on, guys? It's the What It Is podcast. I'm Strolli. He's Marlee.
Marlee, that's Strolli.
And this is a podcast where we're going to talk about some stuff that maybe people aren't ready to hear. But we're going to get it out there and hopefully bring up some discussions that people can talk about. So, today we are talking about
defunding the police.
And what we should do about the police force where it stands right now with everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a valid point. It's a valid criticism.
Yeah.
You saw the police response to the protests last year, and it's kind of like, well, where the fuck do they have that equipment? You could say it's for those situations, but
why do they have that equipment for those situations? Fine.
Yeah, but there are also some rights violations that occurred.
Well, yeah.
Excessive force.
Yeah.
So,
someone would say the right amount of force.
Those people are wrong.
I agree.
Good. Because I was ending this shit right now.
Nah, so what do you think, what does defund the police mean to you?
Literally that.
Yeah.
I'd like defund the police.
Like, okay.
Well, I don't want to just defund the police as in just stop giving the police more money. I think it's just like stop giving the police more money and instead use that money towards the communities that are impoverished and over-policed.
So keep the police,
yeah.
but just stop giving them that much money.
Defund the police does not mean abolish the police. I think that, like I said, a lot of times
some people take that way, so that's why I was curious on your perspective.
Some people co-opt those phrases and use them for their own purposes.
Well,
just like Black Lives Matter.
Welcome to America.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we do.
Exactly. Like I think I was reading something. It was like an interview with Barack Obama, or even he mentioned like using the term defund the police is it's so negative for the cause at this point because of how the term has been co-opted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's been used as like, oh, you want to get rid of the police? Why are you going to get rid of, like, it's like, that's not what the fuck it means.
Yeah.
So whenever anybody uses that term, just like what happened with Black Lives Matter, they're like, oh, Black Lives Matter? Only Black Lives Matter? I thought all lives, like,
yeah.
No, that's not what the fuck it means.
Yeah.
Stop doing that shit.
Well, I feel like that's something that happens with people when as human beings, when we get attacked, we automatically go to an extreme to try and downplay that point that they're trying to make. So, oh, Black Lives Matter. Well, I don't want to hear about that. So, what are you saying, that only Black Lives? Like you automatically take it up an extra notch. So that way, what their argument is, at least in your perspective, sounds smaller than what you're trying to say. You try and take the moral high ground, right? And obviously that's not that's not good.
Those people are wrong.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's so stupid. Like, how do you get offended by hearing Black Lives Matter? It's just kind of like,
yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
How do you get pissed off at that? Like, what in you triggers a reaction to that? It's like telling on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, when you hear that phrase, what exactly about it pisses you off?
Yeah.
Figure that out for yourself before you come at me with all kinds of negativity and anger.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in, let's talk about, I'm a firm believer in this. Let's talk about the shit that nobody wants to talk about, but let's talk about it in a mature way. Let's try and get the thoughts out there and think about it, right? And not just react emotionally and be like, well, this is the way because this is how I feel. Mm-hmm. Well, what are we going to do, right? And with that being said, segue.
Segue to what?
What do you think needs to happen with the police?
Defund them. It's not a segue. We're just getting back to where we started, dude.
No. That's not what I meant. No. I was so proud of that.
I could tell. You were like, yeah, I did a thing. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
I still did, but you just took it a different way.
You should have been like, well, getting back to it, and then we could have done like a little newspaper spinning type thing.
Well, so what I meant by my
Don't put
question
that on me.
Dom, edit that in.
So what I was trying to say with my question was, what? Obviously, defund the police, but so the police still be who they are. They just don't get any more money. What role do you think the police need to have in our communities? That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Well, I think there's certain areas that are over policed.
Okay.
There's certain, like I said, impoverished neighborhoods that the police literally just roam around in. You could say for the purpose of stopping crime, but historically that hasn't always been the case.
Yeah.
You know, you look back in the history of policing and what that meant to certain people in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't always about stopping crime.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, because a lot of that history has never been addressed, a lot of those practices remained. And as opposed to identifying why they are the way they are and changing them, they just remained, and the definition changed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it just becomes, well, it's just the way that it is, right?
Exactly.
Instead of learning and trying getting better, we just, well, it's the way that it is, right? Okay. I can dig that.
Yeah. And when it comes to defunding the police, it becomes, I view it more as a reckoning for the police force as a whole. And it comes to identifying what the history was, why these practices are the way they are.
Yeah.
And taking into account what is truly needed in society today, as opposed to just doing things the way they have been.
Yeah.
You know?
So what's your ideal, like, paint a picture for what your ideal police force looks like, for lack of a better example?
It's kind of hard to say. Like, I mean, I believe that more social services should be enacted. You know,
as in,
just calling the police. Like,
okay.
the police shouldn't be a catch-all for every situation.
Okay.
You know, you see a fire. Well, you might call 911, but you want the fire department to show up. I don't want the police to come to arrest the fire. You know, if I see somebody that's like,
get on the ground.
Exactly. Just shit. All right.
Immediately goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Call back.
Switch it up. Yeah, right. Yeah, but like, the police shouldn't be a catch-all for every situation. I think they should be tailored to certain situations where the police are needed. I don't want to, if somebody looks like suspicious in the neighborhood, I don't want to call the police. You know, just because my determination is that this person shouldn't be here. That's not what the police are for.
So who do you want to call?
Ghostbusters.
Yes. I was thinking about the whole time too. I was like, shit. I'm like saying it out loud, like, word it differently. No.
Oh my God. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
No. I don't know. It's tough because, like, a lot of the situations, like just that situation itself, you see somebody roaming around the neighborhood that shouldn't be in the neighborhood. Yeah. You're going to want to call the police, but then it's kind of like, well, why do you want to call the police? Who are you to determine who should belong in that neighborhood or not?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So
that goes into the person's own inclinations, their own judgment.
Yeah.
That could be wrong, and now they're putting the police in a tough situation.
Yeah.
Because now they're
being fed information that this person's creepy.
Exactly.
And potentially may not be, a nice person.
Also,
so I'm going in with a preconceived notion that this person's not a nice person.
They're being fed information from a judgmental source, as well as coming in with their own preconceived notions.
Yeah.
And that leads to a lot of the situations that we've seen where unarmed innocent people are killed.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's weird, because how do you try and alleviate that problem, right? Mm-hmm. How do you try and, because I mean, obviously if you feel unsafe, you feel unsafe, right? And there's no, like, you shouldn't be judged for feeling unsafe. You know what I mean? Because you shouldn't be judged for any emotions that you feel in general, right? Mm-hmm. If you feel intimidated for whatever reason, even if you're just, a little scaredy cat and you just get intimidated, like, there should be some sort of safety net, for lack of a better example, that should be able to come in and try and alleviate that problem. As far as what kind of power that safety net has, I think is to be discussed too. Like I think it should be the police that come, but it's not necessarily like an officer with a pistol, right? Yeah. It should be somebody that's like a social service call, right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Like,
If
hey,
somebody,
just to give you a heads up, somebody did feel uncomfortable. What is there a reason? Kind of get some general information, if you will, like what the police do, but not have that intimidating presence by showing up, right?
exactly.
And
It needs to be tailored, like I said. Like how many? There's been situations in the past where a person's having a mental health issue. Maybe they stopped taking their medication. Maybe something was triggered and they're having a break in the moment.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the police shouldn't be called to that situation. It should be a therapist. It should be somebody that knows how to handle those situations, that can speak to a person and treat them as a person, as opposed to treating them as a criminal.
Yeah, like maybe for nonviolent calls, or something where inquisitory calls, if you will, like just something to be like, all right, we don't know what's going on, but we need to find out what's going on because someone isn't okay with it for whatever reason. So let's send on the police force maybe, or something, or whatever, another division or whatever it is. Like it's just somebody who has experience in dealing with people and de-escalation, verbal de-escalation, and just trying to get general understandings without showing an intimidating presence to make somebody feel they're being cornered or being attacked or something like that. Like a mutual understanding, like, hey, everything cool? What's going on? Like,
it's the police force for a reason.
Yeah.
They don't fit every situation, and they're put in situations where they use their force.
But if there's somebody running around my neighborhood with a knife, I want the police to come. I want armed people to come because I want somebody to handle it. I'm not saying shoot them. I'm just saying I want that intimidation there, right? If somebody's trying to intimidate me with a weapon that can kill me, I want somebody to do that intimidation to them. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily saying to kill them. Obviously, de-escalation is first and foremost. But having that presence of, well, look what I can do, right? Like when you're going up against a wolf or something in the wild. I was just watching some like nature shit yesterday or something. So it's fresh in my head.
Gotcha.
When you're going up against like a wolf or canines, you want to act big and look scary and look more intimidating so that they run away. That kind of thing, like just look more intimidating, essentially, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like you see a person brandishing a knife.
Oh no. I'm saying
stranger,
this is something that's aggressive. And that's when I would want the police force to come. Right. And then have the social
what's
call.
Aggressive? Maybe somebody's just strolling around the neighborhood and there's a paranoid person who doesn't know who they are, hasn't seen them around, and sees that they might have something in their waistband.
Oh no. Then, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, no. I'm saying someone who's clearly being aggressive and brandishing a knife or brandishing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Clearly has an intent to want to hurt. You know what I mean?
I get it. I guess so, yeah.
Because I think I think that's that line that needs to be drawn. Like if there's a clear aggressive thing that's going on, then you need something that's equally or more aggressive, at least showing, right?
Aggressive or dangerous, because then I also want police to stop people that are driving like recklessly on the road.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you see somebody that's could be a potential hazard to somebody else.
Even then, I'm cool with just a social call with something like that. Like having something like I don't need somebody with a .45 caliber handgun in their pocket to stop somebody from speeding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to go along with that logic, like obviously, like I mean, first of all, what the hell is a gun going to do if they're driving, right? So when you get them stopped, right? And then maybe at that point, that's when you wait for if they're, if they do have a weapon or if they, are aggressive or dangerous or something like that. That's when you wait for, professional backup to come at that point. You like that?
That is. Nice. Very autumny.
Yeah. I do think that that's a good thing. And I was talking to a guy at work, and he was saying he was saying, what if I mean I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but what if cops had like their first couple rounds, like 4 or 5 rounds in their handguns were rubber bullets, something less than lethal rounds in their guns, That way, if for whatever reason they do get scared, or like what happened with that one guy who with the girl who mixed up her taser with her gun.
Oh yeah.
At least then, no one has to die.
If I'm not mistaken, Dante Wright.
I think yes.
I believe that was
I
his
think
name.
that's who it was. Yeah.
It's unfortunate that there's so many nowadays. It's hard to keep track, but I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Yeah, for sure. But having less than lethal rounds, so that way, if accidents happen, right? We can all admit that accidents happen. If an accident was to happen, I'm not saying that was an accident. I'm just saying in general, like that's what that would.
Oh, that was
stop.
a fucking accident. Like she fucked up.
Well, yeah, she was stupid.
I don't think I don't think she purposely went to shoot him because she
No.
was like tase. Oh fuck, I shot him. You know, like
and then
that was some wild shit.
Her partner was like guns here, and he's just like, hey,
bitch.
yeah. And
They slapped her with charges fast.
Yeah.
That was very
Yeah.
interesting for me to see. Like,
well, I mean,
I heard that it happened, and then I saw her mugshot, and she's in a fucking jumpsuit. I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what happens when you actually break the rules, right? I don't mean it like that. That came out really wrong.
Came out really
that
wrong.
came out really wrong. That's not what I meant to say.
That's what happens when you hold officers to the correct level of accountability.
Yes.
That it shouldn't be surprising that it happened so fast.
So
it should have been like, oh, okay, that sounds right.
yeah.
I shouldn't have been like, oh fuck, they already got her with charges. This hasn't been drawn out for 3 months. She's not still on administrative leave.
Yeah. So rubber bullets, less than lethal.
That's lethal. Gotcha.
Sorry. I was actually trying to focus on getting that back.
Yeah.
Less than lethal rounds.
Because
You can potentially, yeah,
you can determine where an officer fucked up without the loss of life.
exactly. And at least if something was to happen that you would actually need your lethal rounds, all it takes is a couple trigger pulls and you're into your real rounds. And you never know if those rubber, if the guy's just pissed and he gets hit with a rubber bullet, that shit still doesn't feel good. He's gonna have some welts.
Did you see what those bullets did to protesters?
Oh yeah,
They fucked them up.
yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. I mean, they're less than lethal. They're meant to hurt like a bitch, but
Less
not
than
kill
lethal.
you.
It also depends on where they
Well,
get
that's
shot.
why they're called less than lethal and not non-lethal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not non-lethal.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they will kill you if they're
Yeah, the
if
police
if
will
you get
find
hit in
a
the right
way.
spot. Yeah, damn straight. Just kidding.
No. Yeah. There has to be other ways.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
And that goes into like the blind ignorance of like, again, I keep bringing it up, but the Blue Lives Matter. Like, no, there has that the response to criticism is not to blindly defend. It is to listen to that criticism and take that into account and how to move forward and improve. The criticism has to be there for a reason. What inspired that criticism, and how do you change those things?
Yeah,
Especially when the criticism is so loud and so common.
for sure. Yeah, take the facts at objective face value and do with them with what's necessary to be dealt with them objectively.
I think without a doubt, you can say that there needs to be improvement.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I don't even think. I think that even Blue Lives Matter people are even like, all right, Jesus fucking Christ, can we fucking do something, please? Like, this is getting ridiculous right now. You know what I mean? Because, it's, like we said, it's not a job that's meant for everyone. It's definitely not easy, and you can only imagine the kind of things that they go through mentally, physically, those kind of things,
And how they contribute to continuing the cycle in impoverished communities. Like,
yeah,
those shitty people in uniforms are fucking up their communities and building more distrust with the police. They're continuing the cycle.
yeah,
They're continuing the trends and the habits that have historically not been for the greater good.
yeah. We need more strict police hiring processes, I guess.
We need more accountability. More objectivity.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, yeah. But I think like going down to the roots of it. I mean, I think you need to stop just kind of letting anybody be a police officer. But then again, it's like, no, not necessarily. Then again, I mean, it sucks because you're definitely going to have less police force. But if you have more quality, maybe it's quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well,
And-
you wouldn't need as much quantity if you didn't have to police, or you weren't put to policing so hard.
Yeah.
You improve the communities that need these policing. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, certain communities you won't expect to have the police roaming around there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you improve the level of those communities to where the police are no longer a force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you
when
think
the police aren't a force and they're simply a presence?
Yeah. Do you think policing is a majority of the reason that these impoverished communities and that kind of stuff are the way that they are?
There is not one sole reason, but they attribute to the cause.
Yeah, well, that's why I said majority, right? Do you think it's a majority, or do you think it's kind of it's in there, it's got a big piece, but probably not the majority? I'm just curious.
So I like I was mentioning earlier and kind of alluding to earlier, it's not, how do I say this? It's not necessarily the police themselves. You can put all these different factors in.
Yeah.
But
It's a combination.
It's a combination of many factors, and many of those factors have, how do I say this? Many of those factors have a racist history that was never addressed, and therefore they have never been changed.
Yeah.
You look at impoverished communities, you look at ghettos, look at housing that was put up just for these people to live, not in good conditions, but in conditions. There was segregation. There's all kinds of reasons. You over-police these, you historically over-police these communities so that these communities can never grow and thrive.
Yeah.
Throw these people in jail so that they don't have a chance at a real life.
Yeah.
And those histories have never been addressed. They've never been looked at. Looking at the facts historically, you can see that these are things. This is why these things are the way they are.
Yeah.
But who in the police force has been like, no, this is racist. This is because of those times.
Yeah, I think it's because I think that has a lot to do with the fact that as Americans, or I'd even argue as humans, we're just proud people. We don't want to admit when we're wrong. You know what I mean? And I think
that's wrong as fuck.
I agree. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's that's definitely been a big part of it. Why? Oh, well, we're just staying with what we're staying with because
times are different now. Those
Yep.
aren't issues now. It's kind of like, well, they were issues before, and y'all never talked about it.
Yeah.
You never did anything to fix it.
Yeah, we never got closure.
Yeah, you just let another generation come by where that wasn't the case anymore.
Yeah.
Without fixing the issues those things caused.
Yeah. And I think if we could just kind of sit there and just be humbled for a little bit, we may actually benefit as society. If we can sit down and look objectively in on ourselves and be like, wow, we fucking suck.
Yeah, exactly. Recognize,
understand. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, recognize what it was. Recognize why these things were the way they were.
Yeah.
You can say that they aren't that way today, but you got to recognize why they were what they were, what those practices continued to be after they were no longer that, supposedly.
Yeah.
And address it from there. You can't look at, like I said, you can't treat the symptom. Like, you can't just treat the symptom. You have to go back and treat the cause.
Yeah.
You
got to go to the roots.
Exactly. And the roots will never be addressed because people in
we're lopping the tree, but
that.
we're not taking the stump out, and it keeps regrowing. And I think that's a really good point. And I think if we can sit there and we can understand, respect, and move to change, that would make a big swing in society.
Right.
If we could be like, wow, we really fucked up, and we're sorry.
Yeah. Absolutely. Be genuine. Understand that two things can be right.
Yep.
Understand that there was a racist history, but it doesn't have to be racist anymore. Yep. But you have to address that racist history and truly show growth to where I'm doing a lot of movement.
I know.
I'm talking with my hands.
That's what made me like.
I was like, fuck.
I was like,
you guys can't see this.
Smack the shit out of that.
You have to address the racist history and grow from there. You can't just time skip and be like, well, this is where we are today. We don't have to pay attention to what happened yesterday.
And I think it's good that we I think it's good that we learn about it,
Mhm.
right? And I think it's good that it stays in our minds.
Learn about the truth of it, how
Yeah.
raw it was. You
Yep.
know, it's not all
Yep.
Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. You know?
Yep. It wasn't all hunky dory. It was
Exactly.
pretty bad. I actually do remember learning about slavery and the abolishment of slavery as being really bad. I remember that was actually like really, it was taught, at least in my opinion, it was taught really really strongly, like where I
Mhm.
was like, wow, that's no bueno. I'm not cool with that. You know what I mean? So it's good that that needs to be taught like that more,
Mhm.
right? So people can understand and be like, this is the reason why it's not okay is because it's not okay. We don't need a reason.
Yeah.
It's just not okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and understand and respect it.
Yeah, it doesn't just jump from like the abolition of slavery to the civil rights movement. There was a lot of time in between
Mm-hmm.
where there were a lot of laws put in place and a lot of practices that happened that
Yep.
never ended. They were never addressed.
I would have been like, what? Shit. Almost 40 years?
Sir.
Less than that?
Sir.
More than that?
Slavery wasn't abolished in the 20s.
Wasn't
Civil rights movement was in the 60s. The abolition of slavery wasn't
60s.
like the
1800s?
1800s, 1700s?
Yeah. No, it
I'm-
wasn't 1700s.
Yeah. No.
I think it was the late 1800s, I think.
I don't think it was the late 1800s.
18
Dom, look it up. Dom, I'm feeling bad. I'm not a historian, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys know my goldfish memory.
Yeah.
I try to hold on to what I can.
Yeah. Regardless of the fact, I mean, yeah, there definitely was a long time, because the abolishment of slavery was ended the Civil War, right?
Passed by Congress on January 31st, 1865, and
Yeah.
ratified in
1800s.
December 6th, 1865.
1865.
Yeah. Okay.
1965.
100
I mean,
years.
1865, 1965, 100 years. All right, I'll give you that.
Ish. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy, man.
Black people weren't people until the 60s.
Wow.
Think about that.
Bizarre.
Think about that.
They've
There's people's mothers
they
that
took
weren't
longer to be people than they have been people.
people. Mhm.
Wow, that's crazy.
But
It's so we're so young. That's crazy. Like I'm like thinking about like the whole, like, as a country we're only
300.
200
Well,
and some change years old.
there were some people here before.
250.
But
I mean, as a country, as
Yeah.
a sovereign nation of the United States of America, we're only 270 years
As a
old.
white
or
nation.
250 years old. All right, look, listen, stop attacking me. It wasn't my nation, okay? I'm not okay with it.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't a nation until it was a white nation. There's a whole different conversation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You want to have that conversation, Marley?
Not without my sister present. She's way better at these conversations than I am.
Sister, come help me.
Help! Yeah.
I don't want to have that conversation.
I know. She'd fucking blow you out of the water.
No, not with you in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean,
Um,
definitely not with sister. No.
No, she's scary.
Yes.
But okay, so again, putting into that kind of context, some of our coworkers, some of our friends' mothers weren't people until the 60s. You know, their grandparents who may still be alive today. How do you blow past all that history? How do you? There's been no reconciliation. There's been no reckoning for all of that.
Yeah.
It's just been left alone.
Well, what kind of reconciliation will actually work? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I understand reparations and stuff like that, like financial, whatever.
Mhm.
Money's money. It is what it is. It's
I
going to
think-
go away at some point. But that's not going to heal any wounds, right?
It will start.
I mean, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone's going to be like, people will be happy about getting money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no one's ever upset about getting money, but it doesn't make you feel any better. You know what I mean? Like, deep down, it doesn't cure anything. It's superficially
It begins to.
mending.
Education.
Yeah, I mean,
begins the healing. Like, obviously, anybody,
education, yes. I'm talking about strictly just financial gains. That's all I'm talking
Oh, you're
about.
just strictly reparations.
Yeah. That's like fine, so be it. If that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done.
That'll
Whatever.
help. That'll help.
But at the same time, I don't think that does anything. Right? That's not help. That's not curing it. It's putting a Band-Aid on it, essentially. Because when the money's gone, they're still going to be upset.
I think that goes into the different feelings of, like, because we talked about this when it came to the stimulus, how you
Mhm.
feel about giving people money.
How I feel?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
In general,
Refresh
like specifically, like giving lazy people money.
Oh, right.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
That money is never the heal all. Money is never the end all be all for helping people. But money fucking helps.
Oh yeah. No. I'm
You
not. Again, I'm not
and
trying
it may
to.
not
I'm not trying to
necessarily
argue
may
that.
not necessarily be putting money into these people into individuals' pockets.
Yeah.
It may be identifying the histories and the practices that have kept these people impoverished and raising them above that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Giving
That's
ample
that's
opportunities
yeah.
to truly be great in this country, as opposed to
And I
just
guess-
being like, you have the same opportunity today that somebody else does, you should be fine.
Yeah.
No, because they
Equity
like
over
Like
equality.
I said, they weren't people until the 60s. You know?
Yeah.
They,
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's crazy.
nobody, and we don't think about it like that. Nobody likes to think about it like that because realistically, it wasn't taught like that.
Nobody likes to think about it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to feel shitty. Let's
Right.
be honest, right?
It doesn't.
Nobody
necessar-
wants to think about the shitty things that we've potentially done. Well, not us personally.
Right.
Some of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, civilians.
Unless they're enemies of the United States, in which case, you know.
Yeah, that's a whole different argument.
Yeah.
I have like a weird like you fuck with USA, you get fucked. But that's just because like I don't know. I kind of like
Colonialism.
What's that?
Because of colonialism.
No.
That mindset has been enforced for
No,
centuries.
it's more or less just liking to watch the world burn sometimes.
That's
that's the cynic or that's the
that's the whiteness in you, sir.
No. I was about to just like counter that with like, no, it's the evil in me, and then I was like, no, I know,
Same thing, dog.
I know you're gonna. Yeah. No, I mean it's all fucked up.
There's a reckoning that needs to occur.
We need
past just an acknowledgement. There needs to be active change.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There needs to be a better understanding.
Update the fucking history books, dude.
Yep.
The big old chunk of history that's just missing. We go straight from slavery to the fucking civil rights movement.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot missing there.
Yeah. It's like step 1, abolish slavery. Step 2, get towards civil rights. Step 3, profit.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
Yeah.
It was Abraham Lincoln, then MLK. That was it.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of fucking time, dude.
Jesus. Now that I think about it, I have
These are
no idea what happened.
generations.
I have no idea what happened. Oh wait, the Roaring '20s. That was a thing.
We're back in them.
That's all I know. Yeah, we are. Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a
Defund the police.
I was just going to be like, and the topic was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those
Yeah.
are my feelings about
Yeah.
that conversation as a whole when it comes to the police force. And like, it's not just
Defunding the police will hopefully help impoverished communities.
Mm-hmm.
By not putting so much pressure on them.
Not just defunding the police, but using more funding towards the communities themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
And no longer using the police as a force to control these communities that are already set up to fail.
Yeah. Trying to use some. Excuse me.
You right there?
Trying to use some social work to the benefits of the police force to try and alleviate some non-aggressive or to alleviate the aggressive acts with non-aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
To try and treat people more like people, man. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
History of policing is fucked.
Yeah. History's fucked.
History's fucked.
Yeah. That's why we got to learn and be better and do better.
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway, guys.
Something
be
dark
better.
side. Yeah.
Something dark side.
Yeah. So, any last thoughts, Marley?
No, I think I said a lot.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm pretty good.
you did a lot of the talking. I was just asking you questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have similar ideas, but
Exactly.
this was something that
I'm a little bit more passionate
curious
about them than you are.
Yeah.
Like you're more fact based. I'm a little bit more emotional in my thinking. But
Yeah.
I'm not that emotional to the extent of only dealing with feelings.
Yeah, and I tend to just kind of I stay in a bubble. It's weird. Like when it comes down to it, like at the end of the day, like we can talk about this shit all day, every day, but at the end of the day, you still got to look at yourself in the mirror. And if there's nothing around me in that mirror, like a ghost or something, then I'm cool.
Just wait.
Spooky ghosty.
Spooky ghosties.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think defunding the police is beneficial in any way, shape, or form? Do you guys... Why, if not, tell us why you don't think so. Because we'd like to disagree with that.
How do you guys feel about the history of policing and the lack of racial reconciliation in the United States and the lack of acknowledgement of where they fucked up for a very long time?
Yeah. And how do you feel about Jake Paul knocking out Ben
Knocking
Askren?
the fuck out of Ben Askren. Jesus Christ. He's 3-0.
Can they get a real boxer to go in there and fight him, please?
No, dude.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
He wants to be taken serious.
Right. And on that note,
Yep. Wrap it up.
We'll catch you next time, guys. We'll see ya.
Smoochie.
Bye.